Hey guys, Carissa here. I have not been live in here for so long and I'm so excited that I'm able to be on camera and speak without coughing again for ages. I still haven't figured out the root cause of what's been causing me to get sick a lot this year, but working on it bit by bit. In case you didn't know, I had really bad case of pneumonia that kind of just came out of nowhere about 6 or 7 weeks ago one morning when I was driving to work, and left me kind of bedridden and not able to do anything at all for almost 2 months, which has been an extremely interesting, let's say, emotional journey, especially as somebody who is usually a very high achiever, has a lot of ideas, wants to help a lot of people. It's been really challenging for me to have to, kind of let go a lot and trust and allow the people around me and in my life and in my business to step up and help me. My team especially did such a great job, and that's what's led me to this particular video this morning, or this topic this morning. And my husband, obviously, for helping look after the kids while I've been in bed doing nothing. But to get into the topic of today's coffee chat, and please say hello if you're there. I can see a few people are on, but I can't see names for some reason. So I had my first staff meeting this morning with my team members for the first time in about 7 weeks. And I am not a stranger to anxiety. In fact, it's been an extremely prominent part of my life as an entrepreneur, let's say. However, over the years, I have definitely developed ways of dealing with it and handling it that have helped me to get through a lot of really challenging situations. Who's there? It's not showing me comments for some reason. That's okay. And I wanted to share that with you. So one thing that I have actually done while I was sick, obviously when you're forced to stop sometimes, and I know even with COVID, so many people have been forced to stop right now. And what it does, if you look at it, if you choose to try and look at it in a positive light, there's always positives and negatives to everything, but I always try and look for the optimistic side, gives you an opportunity to think a lot. And I can't remember where I was going with this. Now I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, back to the team meeting and anxiety. Sometimes thinking a lot is not a great thing because it causes a lot of anxiety when you thinking too much, and when you can't do very much, it can be a little bit tricky. Let's see here. Hang on, my screen's changed from the last time I was doing lives. Never mind. So one thing that I did do, okay, here's where I was going with that story. Here's where I was going with this story, is I took a good look at kind of my website and my branding, and I really didn't have that much energy to do much, but I was like, you know what, the word blog just feels really boring to me, and I don't even really want to read a blog, let alone write a blog. So I changed the word blog on my website, little tiny change, but changes the whole energy of it. Changed blog to journal. So now what I'm going, because usually when I write a blog, it's just like a journal entry anyway, right? I just sit down and think and write about what I've been going through, or what one of my clients have been going through, or something that's on my mind that I want to get off my mind. So now if you are visiting a regular visitor to my website or my Facebook group, instead of blogs sharing with you, I will be sharing journal entries. So back to the topic, anxiety during team meetings. If you're new to this group, this is just an insight of how my brain works, and I know a lot of you guys are exactly the same. It's really hard to stay on topic sometimes when you're an entrepreneur that has tons of different ideas. So, had my first team meeting this morning, started having a lot of anxiety about it. Even though I know better than that, because I've been in business for well over 10 years now. I've had employees for well over 10 years now. And however, when you do something for the first time, when you haven't done it in quite a while, you can freak yourself out about it. You can overthink it. You can make it into such a big deal in your head, which is why I live by and live with using pen and paper to help me question my own thoughts and redirect my own thoughts constantly for almost every single day of my life. Like if I go too long without, let's say like coaching myself, journaling, questioning my thoughts, writing affirmations and stuff like that, I can sometimes get into this like negative whirlpool of just not great energy or not great thinking. And I know a lot of my clients and a lot of you guys are the same, because sometimes it's just easy to do. And sometimes when you're an entrepreneur and you have so much responsibility, it can become a bit overwhelming sometimes. It can feel heavy, it can feel scary, and it's hard. It can be really hard. So, oh my God, giant mosquito. Ah! That's what you get living on a mountain. Mountain mozzies, I call them. Nature. So what I did this morning, and I'm written this journal entry that's going to be up on my website soon in case you want to like stop listening to me waffle and just prefer to read. So my team, when I got sick for the last 2 months or 6 weeks or 7 weeks, whatever it was, my team were forced to basically take on everything and do everything for me. And that led me to a lot of guilt, a lot of feeling like, shit, I can't be who I normally am. I can't do what I normally do. Guilt for not being there for the team. Guilt for not being my best self for my clients. A lot of fear and doubts of like, oh my God, people are going to hate me. They're going to not like it because I'm not there. They're going to cancel. They're going to complain. Like my business is going to fail. You know, this is the anxiety, all of the negative thoughts that kept going around in my head. And so when I was about to jump on the team meeting this morning, and if anyone's commenting and saying hi, I'm saying hi back to you now, but I know nothing's showing up on my screen for some reason. I'm having one of those Facebook glitchy moments, so apologies. I'm just going to share the story with you. So all of that stuff kept going on in my head, and I actually had thoughts pop up that were things that I was going through like 10 years ago, like really past like a whole decade of like fears and doubts that I used to have when I first was kind of like an employer and a leader, and I started having team meetings kept coming up. So thoughts like these are the first thing to do to help get rid of anxiety, if you have it when having like meetings with your team, is to step one, acknowledge the thoughts and the fears and the fact that they exist. They're not right or wrong, they're just there, you know? So you've just got to be like, kind of from step away from thinking them and feeling them into stepping into observing them and thinking like, okay, cool, these thoughts are in my head. They are floating around and they're causing me to feel this way. So then the next step is to get them out of your head using pen and paper. So for me, the thoughts that I was having this morning, they're always slightly different, but the thoughts were like, my staff are going to complain about having to do something. And I know that didn't happen, and that does not happen in my current business now with my staff. Like it just doesn't, because I've learned so much about, you know, making sure I've got the right people on my team. But definitely in the past, especially when I used to have my beauty salon business, let me know if any of you guys can relate to this, and I'll reply to the comments in the group, was like I'd have team members that just wouldn't do their job properly, or they would complain about having to do things that were in their job description. So I had that as a fear or a thought that like someone's going to complain about having to do something, and I'm going to have to then, you know, deal with that. Another thought that I had was they're going to tell me we've been having complaints from clients and they're going to need me to fix them. That didn't happen either, but it was definitely a thought that I had in my head, and it's something that has happened in the past. Some other thoughts were they're not going to like me for not being, because I can't do what I normally do because I'm recovering from an illness and I'm tired, or for changing my mind again. Because that's something I do often, and I'm extremely open about it, and I just say, look, this isn't a solid thing right now, but it is an idea that we could do, or I've changed my mind again. Or another thought or another fear that's definitely been a real life situation from my past is, what if the business is actually better without me? What if the team members realize that they can run this themselves and they go and start their own business without me and leave me out? I know a lot of you guys, or a lot of my clients, have had issues with staff members going and starting their own business and trying to take your clients. It's definitely something that happened to me in the past, and it fucking hurts and it's awful. And so that's definitely one of, and I know this isn't going to happen and it didn't happen, but it's definitely still something that happened in my past that affects my present, because it just pops into my head and then starts me freaking out about stuff. So what I've done then is I've acknowledged the thoughts and I've identified the thoughts or the fears, Yours are probably going to be different. Maybe they're going to be similar. I don't know. I'd love to know though, if you want to share with me. So yeah, most of these thoughts and fears come from my past. Things I dealt with in my 20s when I had no idea what I was doing as a leader or an employer, and these things caught me off guard because I didn't know to expect them, or I didn't know that they could happen. And you know, you grow stronger when you go through these things anyway. Grow through what you go through. Don't know who said that, but that's a quote I like. And so yeah, even though I know better than this now, I still have the thoughts. So here's what I do to work through them before attending the meeting. If you start to have anxiety before, it might not be a meeting with your staff, it might be a meeting with a potential lead or a client or a sales call or something, and maybe you get all of these thoughts coming in your head like, oh my god, they're just going to waste all my time and then they're not even going to buy, or they're going to be such a pain in the ass customer, they're going to complain about everything. Like, you can easily just make that shit up. So then once I've written those things down, then I start to question myself, coach myself through them, ask myself questions like this. 1, are these things really true? Do I know that these things are actually true and happening? And most of the time I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, it's either no, they're not true, or I don't know if they're true, because I don't know yet. I haven't had the conversation. I haven't had the meeting yet. I usually then ask myself, is there a chance I am making this up in my head and none of it is actually going to happen? Because that then goes, yes, that's a massive chance, and you're probably doing that, but you know this because you've done it before so many times. Then the next step I ask is, what do I actually know is true? So then I will write down things, well, actually my team are amazing and they've been doing such a good job and helping me so much while I've been sick. I'm so proud of them and I'm so grateful for them. Also, I know that my clients are actually still getting great results because I've seen them posting in the Facebook groups. I've seen the positive reviews that are coming back. I've seen the results that people are happening. And I saw the results the other day. So that's actually now reminding me that things are not as bad as I was making them up to be in my head, right? So then I start to go, weight off your shoulders. The other thing that you can do, and that I like to do if I really am freaking out about like the worst possible thing that could happen, is I make a plan for it. So an example of that is before I started actually even making videos and putting myself on camera, like I was so scared, and I still get terrified. I still think that somebody is going to troll me. I think that somebody's going to criticize what I look like. They're going to tell me I'm wrong, all of that kind of shit that comes up. So many people have that, which stops them going on camera. But then if you make a plan for what's going to happen if the worst case scenario actually happens, so let's say it's a team meeting, let's say one of my staff members unexpectedly quits, and maybe that's one of my fears and I'm just like left up shit creek. What am I going to do? If you make a plan then, or you write down a list of options of like, okay, what will I do if that happens? What will I do if someone criticizes me or trolls me online? I can just delete and block them and then go have a cry to one of my friends. What will I do if my staff member quits? Well, I can't do anything really about it, so I'd have to just find someone else and hire and train them, So if you have then a plan for what you're going to do if the worst case scenario actually happens, you get that kind of like, all right, well, that's not a fear anymore, because it's still, I don't want it to happen, but if it does happen, I have a plan. Anyway, so then before I show up, so all this happens before I have the team meeting, and then I decide on the intention and the energy that I want to actually bring into the meeting or bring into the conversation, and how I want to show up doing it. So this is really, really important. Even if you don't have anxiety, even if you don't have all of these crazy thoughts and fears that I have, it's really, really helpful to set an intention before you show up to a team meeting, or before you have a sales call with someone, or before you do a live video or whatever, because otherwise, if you don't have an intention, you're not necessarily going to, meet that intention, and it doesn't feel as kind of purposeful, if that makes sense. So my intentions for this meeting was, because my team have been running my business completely on their own without me for the last 7 weeks, first intention is I want them to know, how amazing I think they are. And if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm reading my notes that I've written down for the journal entry. I want them to know how amazing I think they are. I want them to know how grateful I am for them. I want to tell them how much of a good job they've been doing and how happy I am with everything that they've done. That's number one intention for me for this meeting. And then that needs to happen at the start of the meeting or early into the meeting so that that energy is then created, and there's this positive vibe then that happens. If I have fears about clients being unhappy or things going wrong, I then can choose, like, it will help me to be vulnerable and actually share that with the team, that like, hey guys, this is a fear that I have because I've been overthinking things and haven't been able to be really like involved in the business that much over the last however long, or just because it's something that's popped into my head. I actually have a fear about, you know, someone being unhappy or complaining because I haven't been able to put in my best energy and be my best self lately. So I really want to know how everybody is going, how the clients are going. I want to know that you guys are okay. I fear that you guys might not be happy either. So, you know, can we just have a discussion about making sure that, and like what we're going to do to make sure that everybody's feeling good, and so that we can check and make sure the clients are okay, and we can, you know, have a chat with the team members as well. So by admitting, like having that vulnerable conversation as well, and basically getting your fears out of your head and sharing them with other people, that will help as well. So then we had the meeting. Turns out nothing bad ever happens. Very rarely. None of the things that I was making up in my head actually happened. The team are great. They handled everything amazingly. I'm super impressed. We had no complaints and or cancellations. Everyone was happy. Everything's carrying on as usual. Keep calm and carry on. And everybody always feels better when we do come together in a meeting and openly discuss things and look at how the business is going, and look at how the clients are going, and look at what the team members have done, and pay attention to everything, and like show gratitude and appreciation for each other. We all feel so much better after we've come together and done that, whether it's once or twice a week. And so then that can then become one of my new what do I know to be trues if this happens again in the future. What do I know to be true after a meeting? If I'm making it into a big scary thing in my head, I know that we all feel better after we come together and check in on each other and have a conversation and look at the progress of the business and talk about the clients and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I would love to know, the purpose of this video, the intention of this video is literally just to come in and share what has happened in my own life, in my own head, in my own experience as an entrepreneur and a business owner, because I know that there's some people out there that are going to relate to this. Hopefully you might benefit from me sharing this. If you're not currently, you know, journaling, writing down your thoughts, asking yourself those questions, please try it. It really does help. And I just want to know if any of you guys can relate to this, or if it helped you. And also just wanted to say hi and see how everybody's going. If you have any anxious, fear-based thoughts, whether they're related to staff meetings or not, if you want to share them, if you want to leave it in the comments and stuff, we can have a conversation about that. So, and I might ask you, like, or give you a journal prompt or something that you can try writing to help you through that process. So hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you on Facebook. All right, bye.